Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Nedum Onuoha is joining myself.
Nedum's back, he's ready. You said to him, go and rest up.
Go and rest up. No, I said go and rest up, because you're going to come back for extra time.
Nedum, go and rest up, that's what you said. Go and rest.
I've been telling everyone to take a rest.
Have a lie down, just get on the sofa, set the alarm. What
did you do while you were away, Nedum?
I just watched the show. It's a good show. Might as well stay and be part of it now.
Yeah, see, look at that. Proper company man.
Been away on holiday, you know?
Oh, no. OK, I'll start with you then, Nedum. If City do win it again, that would be 6 out of the last 7 titles for them. Does it make the Premier League any lesser of a league? If not, why are other leagues judged on that aspect?
I think if they were to win it, I don't think anyone's won it 4 times in a row, so that would be a first. And, you know, if they do it, I think we'll show a level of dominance. But pretty much all of those have been part of a significant title race. And I think them being as good as they are forced Liverpool to, you know, have to get more points. Arsenal to be getting more points last season as well. So I think it's actually driven up the standard towards the top of the Premier League. And as we, you know, do our predictions this season, you mentioned the likes of Brighton's, Aston Villa's, who can come and disrupt what that normal top 4, top 6 looks like. So even though City have ended up winning it, I think the Premier League as a whole has become stronger, and I think you can see some of that in European competition. So I don't think it's the same as in other leagues where you kind of know exactly what it's going to be like, because ultimately, you know, as I say, there's some really good teams out there who could mount a run, but it's just City that managed to beat teams more consistently over a long period of time. But no, I don't think it's the same as some of those other leagues at all.
Next question. Is Klopp a hypocrite for criticising the large sums of money for transfer fees while seeing Liverpool offer the largest transfer fee in the history of the Premier League for Caicedo?
I mean, I don't think so. It's just the world in which he's living in. I think his point is that it's getting and has long become out of control. But he's in that movie. So, you know, I think in an ideal world, nobody would be paying the astronomical figures that we're paying for some of the players. I mean, I remember back when I was playing, we were talking about salaries and would we ever see the 100,000 a week? Would we ever see the 10,000 a week? That was many moons ago. And then would we see the 100,000, which that has been obliterated? And would we ever see a, you know, 5 million, a 10 million transfer? But don't forget people like Gianfranco Zola, my former teammate, arrived in, I'm going to say 96, 95, 96, 5.5 million. Henrik Larsson, one of the great strikers of the modern era, 675,000, clause in the contract from Feyenoord to Celtic. I mean, when you see stuff like that, and there is many others, it just makes it bonkers the way this has gone. But there's no regulation, there's no regulatory stuff in writing, there's no law to stop this. And so, you know, we had financial fair play. Gab's not around to explain. But I don't think he's a hypocrite. I think he's probably as frustrated as anybody seeing what clubs are having to pay for players and the financial damage that's potentially causing. But then if you want to compete with these teams and these other managers, unfortunately, you're going to have to spend. I mean, it's really quite simple. I wouldn't say he's a hypocrite for it.
What do you think, Nedum?
Yeah, I think he actually said something about that, because I think these words from a few years ago saying that it would be ridiculous to spend 100 million on a player, you know, he did address those when he said today or whatever that, you know, they have that money for a player, and I think he's uncomfortable with it, as Craig has said. But this is where we're at with modern football, and it's like, it's normal now. It's normal to see fees in and around this sort of region, and for them, you know, they have a need and they have a player that they want, and in fairness to them, they have the money available to try and get said player. So I think he's probably a bit uneasy with it, but if he wants to be a part of football for many years to come, I think this is going to be the standard now, and I can't see it going the other way, to be honest.
It's interesting that you said Gab isn't here, because somebody congratulated us all, because it's the 10 years of ESPN FC today. And somebody added us all and said, thanks everyone, it's great, except Gab, somebody wrote. And Gab wrote to them and said, hey, what did I do? This was on Twitter, X.
Hold on, they said, except Gab?
Somebody then wrote, somebody said, you're all great, and then somebody said, except Gab.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so Gab had a little swipe at them.
You always get somebody, don't you?
Yeah, there's always one.
But I always say it's 10 years of ESPN FC, and I always say this to Dan. But this show and its former guys was gone for probably around 10 years before that.
Press pass.
Press pass. Although it wasn't on domestic TV like it is here. It was still going out as an international show. I believe it was long before I was on it. It was done from a broom cupboard somewhere over on the other side at like 6 a.m. in the morning, and it only went to Australia.
And then it became...
It still goes to Australia now, and I think that's where the tweet came from today.
Yes, it did. Very nice tweet, by the way. Yeah. Then you came, and it got all big time.
No. Then I came. It was a bit of a shambles at the start. I have to be a bit. There was too many. There was too many chefs in the kitchen. I won't say any more. And yeah, it was all a bit. But yeah, it's evolved. Let me just say that it's evolved.
Yeah. Nedum and I are pretty much the newbies in the larger scale of things, so we just keep our heads down and get on with it.
I don't know about that, you know.
Okay. Next question. I like this one for both of you. I'll start with you, Nedum. Like Pep with Haaland today, what's the most heated conversation a coach had with you? Was it in front of anyone? And how did you feel during and after?
That's tough, but I'll reminisce about something that happened at Turf Moor when I was at Man City. And we were, I think I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again for those that haven't heard it. We were 4-0 up at half-time. It was a TV game on a Sunday, and like 4-0 up away from home at half-time. Incredible scenes. You know, this is as rare comes. Went into the dressing room at half-time. Everyone was buzzing. And then Mancini came in, and he got really angry at me. He was asking me what was I doing for the set piece just before half-time, where someone like had a shot that went wide. And I said, I don't understand. He said, what were you doing? I said, I was in the place you told me to be. He said, no, you weren't. I said, I was. And the problem was, I think Craig Bellamy was in the wrong spot, but he said it was my fault. And from that point, he had that argument with me, went quiet. Then he pulled me to the side and said, never talk back to me again. And from then, I never played a game for City. So yes, that was a heated debate that happened at Turf Moor. Who would have thought at 4-0 that was the end of everything?
Bellamy just kept his head down.
Glenn Horrow took me off.
It's the smart thing to do.
Glenn Horrow took me off in the London Derby when he was player manager. We were playing Tottenham, we were winning 4-3. We were 2-0 down, I won't bore you with the whole game, but Matt Stein stepped up, Steiny rifled a penalty right into the stanchion, bosh, into the old shed end. 4-3, Ozzy Ardiles was manager at Tottenham, Glenn was manager. He took me off, right, 80 odd minutes. But he had a habit of taking me off at that point, and this is how long ago it was. It wasn't the you pressed and the number came up, it was the boards. You know, everybody's number was inside a big bag of stuff here. So, yeah, get me Burley's number again, just get me Anyway, number goes up, I comes off, so I gets on the bench behind him and I, oi, is that the only number you've got in that bag? My number. And then we started, and we went into sort of a little bit of a tear up, not fighting because Glenn wasn't really like that, and I was that. And then Kevin Hitchcock, my fellow teammate at Chelsea, my best man, said to me after, "You better go and have a word with him. Go and apologise."
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I went and apologised just in case Glenn was going to hold a grudge down the line. So I went and said, "Look, I was in the wrong," and he said, "I was taking you off to waste time and all that, but you don't see that as a player, do you? You don't see it."
I was laughing that you apologised.
I did.
How many times has that happened?
Once.
And that was the one?
And that was tough. I'm sorry. I said, what did you say? I'm sorry. No, let me hear you. No, I did. I went and said, listen, I was out of order. I shouldn't have done it. You're just amazing, this, isn't it?
No, I know, it's fantastic.
Amazing. I said, I shouldn't have done it. Heat of the moment, you come off, London Derby, 7 goals, big game, Stamford Bridge. I said, my bad. That's how you deal with these things.
Did you have your fingers crossed?
No. It was genuine.
All right, that's good. They're good stories, those guys. Mancini, Glenn Hoddle.
Yeah. And Glenn was a nice guy. It's you know, at that point he'd taken me off a couple of times late in games, and me being me, thought, well, I'm going to say something. Or I could have just sat down and shut up. Zip. But I was like, no, not happening.
Oh, nice stories. Next question about the Women's World Cup. Kay, Parayuelo's outstanding extra time winner for Spain yesterday reminded me of Iniesta's epic World Cup winning goal in 2010. What's been your favourite World Cup moment so far? And are you waking up early tomorrow to watch the Lionesses? Yes, of course I'm waking up early.
So you just read yourself your question?
Yes. But just for the podcast people, they're going to have to hear it.
Podcast.
Podcast.
They can't see it.
They can't see it, so they need to hear it. Yes, I will be waking up early and then doing a show afterwards on ESPN2.
Do you know the epic World Cup winning goal? I was doing that game.
You were doing that
and
game?
I don't remember it. I was doing the commentary for ITV Sport with Clive Tilsley, and it was a terrible game, awful game. It was Holland-Spain, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Howard Webb was reffing. I don't remember the goal.
Don't remember much.
Do you remember the goal?
Yeah, I do.
Was it epic?
It was just so, and it was so wonderful because it was a tribute as well.
Right, I just can't remember because it was.
And I lived in Spain at the time.
It was such a forgettable World Cup final, really.
Well, it sounds like it.
Well, it was a terrible game. It was an awful game.
The moment so far, I'd pick out Linda Caicedo's goal. A teenager scoring that goal against Germany. That's my moment so far, but hopefully many more to come. And yes, I will be up early for England. For Nedum, what do you think of Enzo Maresca, Pep's assistant during the treble season? Will he do well with Leicester this season?
Will he do well? I think he's got the ingredients to do so. By all accounts, the players really liked him. Really good coach. You know, he understands English football, and he's going to Leicester. And you know, they don't necessarily need a rebuild, but the talk was that maybe they'd gone a bit soft over the years. You know, they were obviously successful, relatively speaking, but what Leicester wanted to stand for was kind of changing a little bit. But I think Enzo understands that. And as a consequence, he'll try and put forward a team that will sort of deliver those sorts of principles. And I think he will do well. I think teams that try and play good football in the Championship, that have that base from dropping down from the Premier League, I think they'll do well. I think the players will enjoy training under him, working under him. And yeah, I think they'll be definitely in the mix for promotion. But you know, so will a whole lot of other teams. But I think he'll do well. Yes.
1 second. Random question. I was watching that Man City game at Turf Moor. Nedum, has Big Nashi jumped ship from City to Burnley? Or was I saying something wrong there?
No, you saw that. I think Vinny's got 6 or 7 former City employees on his staff right now. Some people were available, some people were asked to come. And yeah, it's been a mix, but yeah, you did see that person indeed. Yes, you did.
Oh. No, I was introduced to him many years ago by Kevin Hitchcock, who Nedum knows, when I was up at Man City. Nice fella, he worked behind the scenes, got the biggest hands in the world, by the way. I wouldn't let him to strangle me. Big, strong. But I saw him chuntering in Vincent Kompany's ear, and I was like, oh, he must have taken some people away. Very random. I know for our audience, they're thinking, what the hell are you talking about?
They're all going to
we just go off on these little tangents now and again, you know.
Nashi, where's Nashi? Well, he's on Burnley's coaching staff this season.
He's not the kind of fella you'd want to meet. He's not the kind of fella you want to meet down a dark alley when he's in a bad mood.
Well, it doesn't sound
he's
like
a big lad.
Yeah, with big hands.
Big hands.
If Real Madrid acquire Mbappe, what do you all think he would need to do to win his first Ballon d'Or? Nedum.
Whoa. Well, if the standard's been set, then he's probably win the league and win the Champions League like Benzema did last year. Yeah, I guess that's it. Hope that Haaland doesn't do anything. Hope that Messi continues to... Well, I hope Messi doesn't do anything. But yeah, he'll be fine. If you're playing for Real Madrid and you're winning La Ligas and you're in competitions like the Champions League and next season as well, there being the European Championships, I think the foundation would be there. And if he was a key player for all those situations and competitions, then yeah, 100% is going to be part of the conversation for Ballon d'Or.
It's probably going to come down to goals, isn't it? I mean, Messi's not going to win it this year, you wouldn't imagine. Even if he scores a barrel of goals into Miami, you know, which he's already got off and running at Wincanton, pretty good. Ronaldo's not going to win it, even if he scores 50 goals in Saudi Arabia, which is probably not going to happen because nobody cares. So it's boiling down probably, you know, if you're just thinking about strikers only, it's Haaland and Mbappe, it's goals. Unless you're looking at, you know, maybe a midfield performance from a Pedri or a Jude Bellingham.
Or Harry Kane tearing it up for Bayern.
Well, again, it's goals, isn't it? If Messi and Ronaldo are kind of out of the equation now, although that might get some people upset this side of the pond, who cares? We're probably talking about, yeah, if Haaland scores the amount of goals that he scored last season and Mbappe's problems continue and he stays at PSG, then Erling Haaland's probably going to win it, because I don't think Harry Kane will score as many as Haaland, to be quite honest, even though he'll do well. If he repeats that Erling Haaland, he's got to win it, surely. Okay. No? What did he score? I don't know off the top of my head. It was almost 50, wasn't it?
What was the actual number? I've forgotten it.
No, but
I think it was 52. 52 or 53.
Yeah, I mean, if he repeats that, then he's going to win the Ballon d'Or, you would imagine.
Only 50 more to go?
Yeah, he's got off to a good start.
Yep. For Kay.
Oh, God, give me the thing and I'll read it. I can't, no, me, I haven't got my glasses. Hold on, are you writing these in?
No, we never pick them. People think we do, we don't. And I definitely don't send them in. For Kay, De Gea has been known to make a few errors and is linked with Madrid.
Who's Kay?
Who's Kay?
Kay. Who's Kay? For Kay.
For Kay.
For me.
How would the Madrid sporting press treat him if he cost Real Madrid 3 points? Probably like they treat everybody else. Then they're not too kind. And obviously these papers are out every single day. And just for the Madrid region, there's those two alone. So
why wouldn't they go and get? I don't understand why they wouldn't go and get Kylian Navas. We were talking about this yesterday from Paris Saint-Germain. He's surplus to requirements there. They got Donnarumma. He was on loan at Nottingham Forest last year. Helped keep Forest up, you know, and made some great saves. Has been at Real Madrid before. He's got great experience. Yeah, he's a wee bit older now, but he's absolutely rock solid. Rock solid goalkeeper with the experience of playing at that stadium for that club. That kind of, for me, is a little bit of a no-brainer rather than going down maybe the De Gea route or something like that. Particularly, it's only short-term. You know, there's no point in giving David De Gea a 3-year contract when Thibaut Courtois is going to be back, hopefully 6 to 9 months, and establish himself as one of the best keepers, if not the best on the planet again. Yeah, and you're looking at a short-term fix for this issue.
What did you make, Nedum, of the link straight away with De Gea to Real Madrid now that Courtois is injured?
Sometimes availability can be your biggest strength. I don't think it's something that they've been perceiving, but you know, when your main guy goes down, you got to look at the market, read into it, see who's available and who's available right now. But I'm with Craig. I'm surprised that Navas hasn't been sort of considered there, but maybe he has. But for De Gea, talk about perfect timing. You basically get pushed out the door at Man United and a spot becomes available at Real Madrid. It's not bad if you can get it, is it?
Not bad at all. Let's just hope they don't contact him via fax. All right, that will do for the latest edition of Extra Time.
Anybody do that anymore?
Thanks for sending in. Well, they did once, didn't they, when they tried to get De Gea, and that was...
How many houses have you walked in recently and saw a fax machine?
0.
Right.
I don't walk in that many houses, though, recently, so...
Puppet football clubs.
I'm definitely
you fax your own questions in for you.
2 of them tonight, yeah, for Kay.
2 burner accounts.
2 burner accounts, at least 2. All right, thanks so much for sending in those questions and to me for sending in my own questions. We'll see you tomorrow to do it all over again.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.